Welcome to The Leader's Bookshelf, a weekly journey through today's top business and personal development books with your host, Frank Gustafson. If you read to lead, welcome home. If you want to read to lead, you're in the right place. Now grab your reading glasses and a cup of hot coffee, and let's get this show on the road. The Courage to Take Command by Jill Morganthaler. Subtitle, Leadership Lessons from a Military Trailblazer. Hey, can I be totally and completely honest with you? I hope so, because that's pretty much the only way that I roll. What I'm going to say on the surface may offend about 33% of my audience, of the listeners here. And I beg of you, stay with me here. This is going to get better. So the Courage to Take Command really had two strikes against it right from the very start for me. First, the author is from the Army. And second, the author is a woman. I hope you're still here because I've got a couple of confessions to make. First, as a Marine, it's really easy for me to discount anything from another branch of the service. That said, I have never knowingly read a leadership book written by anyone that has served in the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force. And second, there are not many leadership books out there written by women that I've been inclined to read. Right or wrong, it seems like kind of a male-dominated segment of the book market. And that said, I have had yet to read a leadership book by a female author. Now, I hope you're still here, all right? I hope you're still listening. So, why did I pick up this book? And why did I read it in one day? I did it for several reasons. Number one, with my new Leadership Bookshelf podcast, I really felt the need to kind of branch out to meet the needs of a broader audience. Number two, I felt convicted by the fact that I've been kind of narrow-minded on this subject, to say the least, and I really wanted to broaden my horizons. And number three, my lovely wife, Teresa, recommended that I check this book out. Okay, I admit it. Perhaps I've been living in a cave. I'm sorry. I will try to do better. The Courage to Take Command was or is a stellar book. I couldn't put it down. I started reading this book last night and I finished it this morning. And this book is a leadership A to Z course in under 200 pages. I don't think that there's anything that Colonel Morganthaler didn't cover in this book in great detail with regard to leadership. You know, her writing style and her content kind of reminded me of John Maxwell. And if you don't know who John Maxwell is, you probably don't read a lot of leadership books because he's written over 80 of them. You know, Jill had some huge barriers to break through as a female Army officer back in 1975. Her accomplishments are awe-inspiring. And the term trailblazer from the subtitle of her book is definitely apropos. You know, I really loved her leadership style and her tenacious spirit. And this Marine, this one right here, would follow her lead any day of the week. One of the things that Colonel Morganthaler points out that really struck me like a ton of bricks was a quote that she mentioned from the Harvard Business Review, or from a Harvard Business Review article. And this quote states that the average age that someone in the United States takes a leadership position is 30 years old. But the average age that someone receives formal leadership training is 42? Wow, are you kidding me? That means that the average leader stumbles his way through his leadership journey for over 10 years before he gets any formal training. No wonder Gallup says that 72% of the working population in this country is either disengaged or actively disengaged in their work. That stat just freaking floored me. I've always felt that business in general kind of suffered from a leadership crisis, and this was confirmation of that. The leadership crisis people, I'm talking to you right now. Leadership crisis people, hear this. Here's the solution. Read The Courage to Take Command by Colonel Jill Morganthaler. Count your leaders, and then go to Amazon.com and order as many copies of this book as you have leaders. Hand it out and require each of them to read it and report back to you on what they learned. Leadership crisis solved. Bam, just like that. You know, like I mentioned earlier, this book really is an A to Z leadership course. Colonel Morganthaler takes us kind of step by step through her Army career. And each step she points out issues that arose and leadership lessons that she has learned, really as she advanced further up the ranks. And these are real life situations that relate to really each and every one of our leadership opportunities, not just in the military, but also in the civilian world. Every civilian company in business today, these leadership lessons relate. She points out both the good and the bad leadership that she has experienced, and how they have, the good and bad both, have really developed her into the leader that she is today. Like John Maxwell, her lessons are practical and meaningful and interesting. And as I stated earlier, I've never read a leadership book by a female author. And I've never read one in just 2 sittings. So really, this is 2 firsts for me, which is nice, right? I thoroughly enjoyed this book on many levels. I love the leadership principles. I enjoyed expanding my horizons and opening my mind a little bit. And as a leader myself, I'm a bit embarrassed to have to admit my narrow-mindedness. But hey, I'm a work in progress, and I'm getting better every day, right? So, leaders, do yourself a favor. Grab a copy of The Courage to Take Command, and let me know your thoughts after you give it a good read, okay? Until next time, keep turning those pages. Hey, thanks again for stopping by the Leader's Bookshelf. I would love to get your feedback on this show. If there's anything that you'd like to say with regard to a specific episode of the show in general, or if you have book recommendations, I'm always open to those. Just stop by theleadersbookshelf.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.